Heavenly interference going on here?
I'm pretty sure of it. I'm pretty sure of it. I was seeking God a lot, and actually, before I even came to the idea of me going into fashion, I had a really bad last year. Unfortunately, I was thinking of doing some business, this charity idea, and it wasn't in God's plan. I thought it was. And I spoke to my pastor about it, and he clearly advised me against it. But I just thought, oh, now you're old. You don't know what you're talking about. I followed through, and I met a lot of people that were not in the plan of God for my life. And I fell into a real deep depression and even became suicidal. And, and it was like only my pastor was able to identify that something was wrong. And he told me, you know, there's something wrong. You need to see somebody. And I actually went to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health because I was scared. Because I was like, why am I Christian and I'm so having these feelings? So anyhow, I went in, and then they told me what I was feeling, and they helped me. I spoke to a psychiatrist for a few months in my last year of school, and I realized what really happened was I had stopped with my Bible reading. I had stopped with my prayer life, and I had entertained a new spirit, a familiar spirit, and I didn't realize what was going on with me. And
so you'd opened up on the inside to something that was not of God.
Yes.
And you had basically starved your spiritual connection with God, and you were feeding an unhealthy connection.
Yeah, and I didn't know because I kept going to church. I didn't know. But anyhow, I finally got back in touch with God. I started prayer reading and everything, and finally, by the end of my graduation, I felt like God was saying, I brought you through this, and I'm taking you to a new chapter. And he's like, I'm going to use you to be like a marketplace minister. I'm changing your course. I'm going to allow you to speak to many people, to share your testimony.
So that marketplace is now the fashion world.
Right. I didn't get the idea of what it was until 2007. Actually, one morning, 3:30 in the morning, woke up out of my bed, felt the need to just get a piece of paper, and I just started writing. I wrote, and all of a sudden, I had my idea to start a fashion business.
Well, were you always into fashion?
Yeah.
I mean, was that something that was in you and you were passionate about from a young age? Or?
Well, I've always liked clothing. I've always loved fashion. I always found it difficult to find modest clothing. And so I had taken
Huge. That's huge.
Yeah.
Especially in the club world.
Yeah.
You know.
And especially with the messaging, like you even just said, where, you know, a woman's body is her power and can manipulate many things in life, you know, I mean, and you know that experience.
Yes,
so, of course, when you look around now in stores, there's there's not a lot of modest clothing. It's all very sexified and
even for younger girls, unfortunately. It's shocking to see what kind of clothing they're marketing towards the girls who, you know, in elementary school, not even junior high.
There's not much fabric in most of it.
No.
But
Remnants. They look like remnants.
Yeah.
When you got this idea from God about fashion,
Yes.
so he spoke the word modesty to you?
Well, I got it from the inspiration was Proverbs 31, the Proverbs 31 woman. You know how she's the entrepreneur, she's a sewer, she makes clothing for herself, and I just knew that I wanted to find clothing that fit me and clothing that I felt comfortable wearing. And when I wrote that down, I was like, okay, thanks God you gave me an idea. How am I going to make this idea happen? I have no money. So I was working at a law firm at that time. I was as a receptionist. And then I got fired suddenly. But
Not the help you were looking for.
No.
When you said, help me out here, God.
In mysterious ways.
I was like, goodness gracious. But then, you know what? By being fired, it allowed me to qualify for this summer youth program called Summer Company. And that was a entrepreneur opportunity.
Yes.
And if I wasn't unemployed, I would never have qualified.
So that was the beginning.
Yes.
And then they connected you to people in the fashion industry to mentor you?
Well, actually, no, they just taught me how to do the the business part, and I, learned by meeting with other people who knew how to sew and so forth, and I realized, this is what I really want to do as a career.
So you design. So
I design
clothes.
I design clothing. I sew the samples, and I get the my production manufactured here in Canada.
Canadian made.
Good.
Great.
Canadian made, so
Good.
therefore fair trade. So
And the name of your company is C Virtue. Tell us about the name.
C Virtue came because of the virtuous woman. I wanted to create clothing for a woman that is a woman of excellence and a woman who is like a light. She, as a Christian, we are supposed to be the light of the world.
Now, is the C
Or is it
virtue?
C for you?
As in,
Or C
Cleoni?
Cleoni?
well, it was originally. It was actually Virtue C. Actually, Virtue Cleoni, Virtue C. Come and see Virtue. And then someone helped me at my church. Said, you know what? How about C Virtue? So
Well, we are going to see some of your designs right now. Let's take a look and tell us what we're looking at here, Cleoni.
Okay. That is some pieces from my first collection, the spring collection.
Oh,
Okay.
the ruffles
nice,
are
the
big.
ruffles,
Yeah, I
yeah.
like that.
And I launched that in May, actually April, and that was one of my models.
And the
that's a
longer
nice top.
the longer skirts are really nice, aren't
Yes.
they? Because you can pair them with a nice shoe or with a boot, and being as tall as I am, I appreciate the long skirts.
Now, are you thinking of a specific woman here? I mean, are your clothing for all people, like Denise and then myself? I mean, you've got a number of different
Yeah, there's
kinds of
different
shapes,
styles and-
but all different shapes and sizes are for your clothing.
Yeah, our women they tend to have wider hips.
Yes.
Most women do actually tend to have.
So those are
I love the blouse.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
my
that's
fall
beautiful.
That's
collection.
something I definitely would wear.
Where can you get these? I'm looking at this going, oh, there's a couple shirts that I like there.
You can get them online, www.cvirtue.com, and also you can schedule an appointment to meet with me so that you can actually try out, see the stuff, touch it, feel it, and place your order.
And you live.
I live in Jane and Shepherd, close to Jane Finch.
So in
In
Toronto.
Toronto area.
Yes, I'm in Toronto.
And you're not just gearing this towards women of faith. You're gearing it just towards any woman can embrace modesty.
Yes.
It's almost countercultural because there's so much thrown at us that, I like having the challenge of saying I can be fashionable, stylish without having to show the goods. You know what I mean?
Precisely.
And that's the bottom line. That is the bottom line. Well, Cleoni, we are so happy for you. We bless you in your endeavor. And
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank
we're
you.
excited for you.
Well, I mean, one thing I just want to mention, I think that as women of God, and not just only for women of God, I see that the enemy has this desire to steal, what God, that pure innocence
And beauty.
and beauty that He's already created us with. And I think this is a wonderful opportunity for us to take back what the enemy has stolen.
That is so good because we need to change that perception for women, and even for women, for us that struggle with this as well. I mean, sitting on the couch, we have that in front of us as well. But helping to change what real beauty is, and it's not over-sexualized. It's about being beautiful, inside, and then that coming out. So that's so great and encouraging your message.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cleoni. Thank you for being with us on Full Circle.
Thank you.
And if you want more information about Cleoni, you can log on to our website at crossroads.ca, and there will be a link there to her website. Well, when we get back, Denise Lottie will introduce us to a couple in their 60s who are back in the routine of packing lunches and checking homework. Actually, it's a very special couple. Stay with us.